Welcome back, everybody. We are back. We didn't see Barbie. We didn't see Oppenheimer yet. It's been a week. We got coffee, and we've got a brand new spoilerific, spoiler review of the latest episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, Hidden Inventory, Part 4. I'm feeling mostly better, still blowing my nose and stuff a bunch. Yeah, you've been wanting to go out. You've been wanting to stay in here the whole time. Now I closed my door to do this review because my roommate's home. You're gonna have to stay in here for like 20 minutes, okay? It's a cat thing. So, where we left off is where exactly we pick up in this latest episode. And by the way, this is like one of the longest weeks I've had, you know, like not in like a serious way, in like a I can't wait for the next episode kind of way, where it's just like I need this to come out. And it was a very long time waiting, and then got to watch it twice, once to soak it in, once to take notes. And exactly where we left off is we get to see Amanai's death again. And it's not easy. Like, there's so many moments in this episode where they really just twist that knife into you, and really let it settle. And seeing the death first again, and like, it's pretty impressive because usually, anime does this a lot, even when they go to like, commercial breaks where they'll like repeat the same beat so you know where you left off. But they animated it like it's a whole different animation because it's from different angles and stuff like that. And so it's very impressive. But Geto starts fighting Toji and, hits him with the dragon. I call it the dragon dive, even though it's from Hunter x Hunter. But with like its big dragon, like never-ending story-looking curse, which it has to be. That has to be a Falcor curse. Like, it's not. I don't know the inspiration of the illustrator or the author, but that has to be a Falcor like homage. It looks exactly like him. And then we go into the credits where that again, just another knife twist of just. It reminds me of like Junpei in season 1, where you see him like the Jujutsu Kaisen uniform, the Jujutsu High uniform, and they're all laughing and everything. And then if you notice in that one, like it kind of like blurs when you see that. So like it kind of gives you a warning, even though you're not looking for it, of what's to come. After it happens, you see it, but there's no warning in this opening credits of what's going to happen to Riko, which I'm glad there's not, but it's just like seeing her like at the aquarium and like them running on the beach and everything. Granted, we did see those things, but you didn't think it was going to end up the way it did, but it did. It's tough. But we go into the Geto versus Toji fight, sorry. And again, like, this is so well done in that you are so frustrated with how competent Toji is. Like, he is a civilian living in a sorcerer's world. Like, he's from the Zenin clan, and he has been, like, tormented his entire life for not being able to see curses or see curse energy. And I'm wondering, like, he's got to be able to see curses, right? He doesn't have any cursed energy, but he can see curses because, like, obviously he avoids Geto's curse. He fights, Falcor curse and stuff like that. And he's got the curse with, like, and I noticed, I rewatched Zero with my friend this last week because I hadn't seen it since theaters. And so we were watching it, and then when you see Geto in the rafters, when they exercise the curses at the mall, you see the little worm. I was like, that's... And I didn't want to say because they haven't caught up on this season yet. And I was like, oh, and like, what? I was like, nothing, don't worry about it. Just notice something, no big deal. And I hadn't noticed that or like really put that together. And I'm sure like that's everyone in the comments like, well, duh. Yeah, I know, I'm slow. But I finally put those together that obviously Geto, who absorbs curses with his curse manipulation, is going to take over that worm curse at some point. We don't know how. But Toji just knows what he's doing, and it's like this begrudging respect that I have for him, because I want him to get his ass kicked. I want our guys to win, even though I know what happens to Geto. He's still on our side for now, and he just, in the same way that Gojo lost, like, I don't know if Geto got a hit in, man. I really don't. I don't think he did. And you have Toji kind of explaining everything that he does, and he knows like what Geto's power is, and he like kind of looks down on him for it. He's like, oh, you're curse manipulation, huh? Yeah, you riffraff. Like he says riffraff, and it's just like, this man has no respect for anybody or anything, and like not in a I agree with what he's doing kind of way, but I understand his background, him hating sorcerers, him like not caring about anything, him wanting to disrupt the system, like just everything about his upbringing reflects who Toji is. So I can at least understand that. I can still hate him, but he's a very well-developed character. I feel like nowadays people get mad at you for liking bad guys, even though they're good characters. You can hate a bad guy, but he could still be a good character, and that's who Toji is. Speaking of bad guys, you know who's a bad guy? Are the barriers at Jujutsu High. And like, granted, Toji does explain like how he got around them because he has no cursed energy or anything. But you know, like in the school battle, people breaking in those barriers, and Geto walks in right through the barrier, and Zero, it's like, do the barriers do anything? Do the barriers do anything? I don't think they do. I think they're like barrier in name only, or it just sounds good. Maybe it's like a bluff. I don't know what Tengen-sama is doing under there, but he's not doing enough. Yeah, like, as I wrote down, like, Toji has really thought of everything when it comes to how he survives in the sorcerer world, where, like, he knows he doesn't give off cursed energy, so that's, like, his camouflage, but he knows his little worm curse does, but he needs that to carry his weapons around, and so, like, he makes it small and swallows it and then pukes it up, and then by the time he's got his weapons out, he doesn't care if you can see where he is, because he's confident enough in his own abilities and his heavenly pack to be like, yeah, you can try and track me, but I'm stronger and faster than you, so you're going to be too busy trying to track me, and then I'm going to end up like I did Gojo, end up right behind you and stab you in the throat, and you're dead. And that kind of, like, he goes through Falcor, like, easily, like, gets kind of hit by him, but not really. I was really sad to see that curse die. You know, maybe it's for the best considering where Geto ends up, but I was very sad to see. That was just a cool looking curse. I'm sure Geto was very sad to see it go. And then he's got like I kind of call it like the ring curse, where like she has a domain, she's so powerful, and you have to answer the question, or she like has a bunch of scissors around you and cuts you. And he's that fast that he beats a domain. That's insane to me. That's like beating I know it's not like a special grade domain or anything like that, but just imagine like being able to be so fast that you beat a frozen in time domain. It's wild. It's honestly like, I don't want to say underrated, but just like, I feel like I was underrating just how powerful Toji was and all of his abilities, and I don't think I'll do that again. And then Geto tries to absorb the worm repertoire curse that he's got around his shoulders and gets sliced up, and just like, Toji literally says, I would have killed you, but you have curse manipulation, so I don't know what happens when you die. And that's a weird thing. Like, maybe he has killed curse manipulators before, and it just hasn't gone well. Hold on, cat. Okay, you're gonna go out? Of course. Now that I gave you the door, you don't want to open it. All right, I'm gonna leave it just cracked a little bit. Just hopefully it is hot today. So maybe he does have experience with that, with like, but in Zero, I guess because Zero, he had expended all of his curses, so maybe that's why nothing happened. But maybe when you kill a curse manipulator, they all just like come out and just it's chaos. So it's kind of the only reason why Geto survives, because I don't think he can do what Gojo does, which is explained a little bit later. So we're very lucky to have Geto in our lives today, or maybe, you know, unlucky, but I'm glad he survived at least at this point. So what next, so we go to commercial, and then we end up at the Star headquarters, the Star religious group headquarters, and then just the curse just like puking up Amanai's body and just like dumping it on the table. Basically, it was just twist that knife, just literally like what Toji did to Gojo is what happened when I kept seeing these things happen to Amanai. It's like, just let her rest. And it was just tough. And so it's so funny though, like the next scene where like basically the Star Village goes like this crazy cult that's just like, yeah, we just want to disrupt things. And I feel like that's a big theme to anybody that opposes like Jujutsu sorcerers, where they just want to cause chaos. And granted, there's a lot of problems in the Jujutsu sorcerer world where they're like kind of stuck in traditions, and anybody that doesn't fall exactly into the little building blocks of their society is outcast and shunned, and very terrible things happen to them. But it's just so you kind of understand why people want to cause this chaos, is because maybe they've been shunned or rejected or like harassed and assaulted because they didn't fall into the Jujutsu norms. But Toji's like, we got our money. Do you want to go get some food? He's like, no. The only time I want to see you is when we're working or in hell. Like, what a line. If someone said that to me, I don't know what I would do. That's crazy. And that's when Gojo shows up. And this Gojo we've never seen before. We've always seen him in control, smiling, happy, enjoying himself. And granted, I've seen enough stupid TikToks with manga readers being like, just wait. We get it. We understand. We know that we've been waiting for a long time. We know that we've been waiting for years since the first season, and then we got Zero, and now we're getting this. Like, we understand that. Can you just let us wait? You've warned us enough. You've hinted enough. Now you're just like tiptoeing onto spoiler territory where it's just like, I know. Let me just watch the show now. It takes a lot of patience to do anime only. I'd love to read the manga, but you know what? I did that with Invincible, and I'm really glad I did. I read the comic book, and it was great. And now I'm really excited to watch the show in retrospect. But in a lot of things, I'm just going to be anime only, and then I'm going to go back and read the manga, and that's totally okay. So you know what? I respect you. Respect us, please. We just want to see these things for the first time. But I've seen that crazy, like, bloodied Gojo laughing image like 1,000 times, and I still, like, just was not ready for it. It was absolutely insane. Seeing Gojo just, like, unhinged, and even Toji's like, he's high. And I can kind of understand, because, like, if you had just died and managed to barely come back to life by some crazy reverse curse technique of combining so much negative curse energy that turns into positive curse energy and regenerates you. And even then, like he says, like if Toji had cut off his head, like he couldn't do anything about that, but he didn't. So he got very lucky. And so, yeah, he's just kind of like, I don't want to use the term high on life, but he kind of is, because he even says, like, you know, the music starts swelling, like the birds start playing. He hits Toji with the reverse red curse, which he wasn't able to do earlier. And so I guess they say red repels energy and blue attracts energy. And that's when he combines both of them to create his very first hollow purple and just like cuts basically Toji in half. Like it's a pretty brutal image when you see it. And I love that we don't show it like we do in season 1, where like the big music and the bass is bumping and it's like doom 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 doom. You don't see it. It's like this very beautiful, solemn thing where it's just like it happened, and then like the lights kind of flash, and then you just show like everything that it cut through, including Toji. He's like, and meanwhile that's happening, he's like, any other time, like I would have been like, you know what, I'm not getting paid for this, I'm out. But all that resentment from his entire life about how he was shunned by his own clan, how everything he's done up until this point was basically just to get back at the sorcerer world, and everything he's had to do just to make ends meet. And he's like, this is the pillar of Jujutsu society. Like the kid with the 6 eyes from the Gojo clan with the infinite. I wanted to destroy him. I wanted to see if I could topple the entire society in one swing, and I thought I had, and my pride got the best of me. And I do love that. I love that he realizes like the mistakes he'd made, and that everything he'd been doing, like whether he wanted to believe it or not, was to get back at everything Jujutsu society wise, and it all came crashing down in one fell swoop. And his last thoughts were of his son Megumi, And he, like they even said like, "Oh, do you have any last words?" Like, "No, I'm good." And then he realizes like there is something he wants to say, and it's like I rewatched season 1, and it was about like how Megami was going to be sold to the Zenin clan to pay off his mother and father's debts, and I don't know what would have happened to him then, but probably nothing good, or maybe, I'm not sure. I'm sure like they'll explain it more in the manga, so if you know spoilers, please don't spoil it for me. I'm still learning, or maybe I'm just too stupid and I should already know. But he basically just says like, my son, in a few years, my son's going to be sold to the Zenin clan. Do with that information what you will. And he knows that in the little time that he spent with Gojo, he knows like what Gojo will do to like rescue his son from whatever terrible fate the Zenin clan will give him. And I do like that no matter how he tries to convince himself that he doesn't care, he does love his son very much, and that's great. And that's kind of like where the credits roll. And I'm not a always sit through the credits person. Sometimes I do. Sometimes, like the last episode I did, just because of everything that had happened. And that's kind of the only time I sit through the credits is where, not necessarily that I'm watching it, I'm just like letting the whole episode kind of wash over me. You know, I'm so glad that Crunchyroll, like, I think they do at the very end, like when the last 15 seconds of the episode is playing, it'll do the autoplay, like, hey, here's the next thing. But it's not like Netflix where as soon as the credits roll, it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, next episode, let's go. It's like, okay, calm down, Netflix. I understand there's more. Even if there's not, it'll be like, oh, here's your suggested. Do you want to watch Extraction? Do you want to watch what's that murder mystery starring Adam Sandler? Even though you just watched, you know, Gone Girl. It's like, what? But I'm very glad that it doesn't do that, and it lets you like kind of just take everything in, and that's really important. And one, you know, I obviously can't read Japanese, but like a lot of people worked on this episode and put their heart and soul into it, and especially with the whole writer strike going on, like it's important to honor those people and to recognize the hard work that they do with everything that goes into this. Like just the simple fact of at the very beginning of the episode, they reanimated the first part of it from like a different angle. Like they didn't have to do that. Like I wouldn't have noticed if they hadn't, but they did, and it's pretty dang impressive. But I don't know. You get stuff after the credits, and it's the Star Religious group, kind of like the peons, none of the higher ups, like just clapping as Gojo takes Amanai's body. And I'm guessing they're clapping because she's dead, not because Gojo's there, and that's just like super dark. And they discuss him and Geto, and Geto sees the little worm curse, and like obviously we know he absorbs it. Obviously, like you know, I definitely realized that before, you know, 2 nights ago. But they discuss whether they should kill everyone or not, and I really thought they were going to for a second, because like you see Geto's hand kind of like flickering and shaking, and then like turn into a fist. I was like, here it goes, just one big curse, like that worm curse. I don't know if it got exorcised or not. But that other big one-eyed curse that we also see in Zero, that definitely gets exercised. Man, it was a really tough moment. And like you see her hand fall to her side, and it's just like, and you see like Gojo kind of coming down off his high, but just like, you know, he's definitely like very existential in this moment of like, oh, does anything matter? And just like the red light on Gojo and the white light on Geto, where like this is when they seem to like start drifting apart, and it's definitely because of this mission and everything they've gone through. And it's just like he says like, yeah, so I know I'm paraphrasing here, let me at least get my paraphrase quote. Is there any point to it? Does there need to be? From Gojo. And Geto says yes, especially to a Jujutsu sorcerer. I know that's paraphrasing, but and that's just like, I think that's when Geto starts to realize like, yeah, Jujutsu sorcerers are above these like normal people. We do have a purpose, and it shouldn't be to be like protect these normies, because I couldn't protect this one girl, and now I'm just gonna like, you all should die. It's Jujutsu sorcerer world only. I don't know if that's how it goes. This is just my speculation, but it definitely seemed to be like the seams like start to rip in, maybe not their friendship, but then in their ideals of what it means to be a Jujutsu sorcerer. And it was really interesting to see. And this was another amazing episode. We got one more episode called Premature Death coming up, which I thought this episode was going to be called Premature Death or something. I don't know. But I don't know if this is going to be like, this seems to be like an anime, not like trope, but just like, even like in like Game of Thrones, it'd be like episode 9 out of 10 was like the big action finale. And then the last episode, the actual finale was like kind of set up for the rest of the season. A little bit of, you know, descending action. And I think that's what the next episode will be. I don't need action every episode. I am super into the lore and just like the backstory of all these characters and this world. So I'm looking forward to next Thursday. Maybe it's not like as much as I was looking forward to this episode because of the giant cliffhanger we got. But I want to see like if we get that crosswalk conversation between Geto and Gojo like we did in Zero. And if this is where we get to see like him finally leave Jujutsu Society and form like his little cult that he has in Zero. And then, you know, maybe we'll get to see our trio. Maybe we'll flash forward into the present day and get to see our trio before Shibuya happens, because I know Shibuya is going to be crazy. I've heard it 1,000 times, but man, I cannot wait. 21 minutes, guys. I'm sorry, these videos are getting longer. I just have so much to say because I really do love this show. Thank you to each and every one of y'all that watched this. How many views did we get our last video? Like 30 something? 31. You know, I appreciate all 31 of you watching that last video, and any and all of y'all. If you guys just want to leave a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And if you guys really want to leave a comment and let me know non-spoilery stuff, non-manga spoilery stuff of what you guys liked in this episode and what you think is to come, that'd be great. If not, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great weekend. I will try and go see Barbie and Oppenheimer. I'm going to go see my family this weekend. I had to cancel on them because I got sick last week. So I'm going to go see them this weekend. So maybe sometime next week I'll try and get that out. But honestly, I keep seeing different things about what YouTubers like can and can't talk about. You know, I have no audience, so I don't know how much it matters to me. But I don't want to... I have a lot of friends that are affected by the strike. So I've been getting so many different things of like, yeah, you can review movies. Oh, but like influencers can't review movies. Oh, but journalists can. And it's like, I don't know, man. It's a lot of confusing stuff. But yeah, I'll see if I can do a review, I will do a review when I get it out. And we got TMMT this weekend, which I'm very excited about as well. So a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.